everybody, this is Big Stack Numismatics. Welcome to all my fellow coin collectors out there. It is Saturday, September 18th, around 3 in the afternoon, and I spent the last couple hours going through some dimes out of my Guardhouse dime box. I have some notable coins to show you, some interesting things, and perhaps some valuable coins. We can take a look at that here in just a second. But first, I wanted to show you my setup. I do have this nice new coin microscope. And I put some padding here at the bottom, so if I set it down, it doesn't scratch and all that kind of business. There's the Guardhouse box. I do have this pretty sweet double monitor setup here. Both are 27-inch monitors. On this side over here, I have up the PCGS guide on how to grade Mercury Dimes. Everything here that's, from good to fine, and what extremely fine and of course mint state would look like. Okay, so I have that up. I also have a value guide here, so I can scroll through all of the different grades. Of course, I have the mint state ones up right now. Let's go back to what I'm typically used to looking at here, which is going to be the Mercuries that are in everything from 1 all the way up through, fine here for these prices. And so for each one of these dimes, I was kind of, especially if they were the early ones, I was scrolling through and looking for those values. Over here is the screen readout. Of course, the little guide I printed out for myself of the key dates, that I'm looking for. But this is pretty cool, so I did find this Canadian dime mixed in. And I'm just going to show you how this works. So I would pick this up, and in order for me to look at this in the microscope, I hold it like this. Okay, and then I put it under the microscope, and boy, oh boy, that helps me to identify that really well. And I'm also going to try to do some screen capture here. So this is all pretty new technology for me. So I'm going to reposition this camera, and then we're going to look at some of these notables that I just found. And actually, already, just want to let you know, I did go through 8 rolls of Mercury dimes. Those are all Mercuries. Most of these are Roosevelt dimes. That's for another date. But I do have 3 unsearched rolls of Mercury dimes that I'm going to be doing right after I show my notables. So this is probably going to be a longer video. I'm going to show you what I found so far. If you want to stick around and see the process for how I rifle through all of these, then that'll be afterwards. So let me reposition. Be right back. Okay, so we're back. I have 8 coins to show you that I picked out of the 8 different rolls that I looked through. As I mentioned, I still have 3 other coin rolls that I want to, or tubes I want to search through but I've actually tried filming this 2 times now using screen capture with my microscope, and every time it stopped like halfway through, and so I had to, this is kind of my 3rd chance. And so I took some screenshots for a couple of them, but technology has gotten the better of me today, so I'm just going to kind of do this by hand. So here's the notables that I found. All right, so this one has a hole drilled through. Just thought that was interesting. Someone clearly used this as a pendant. Okay, now doesn't make it worth anything, but just interesting. All right, next up. This one right here, to the naked eye, as I looked at it, was nothing special about it. You may be able to see some faint scratches. But under the microscope, take a look at this. It's very crazy, isn't it? Looks like some deliberate scratching, like someone got out a pin or like a nail or something like that and just put all of these scratches in there on both the obverse and the reverse. So again, nothing that makes it valuable, but just interesting when you're looking at all of these under the microscope. It's like that one really stood out. It's like, what in the world is that? All right, on to the ones that have some value here. I found this. It's kind of cool, a 1906 Barber. See if I can zoom in just a little bit here. 1906 Barber. Very, very slicked out. Like as slick as they come, right? I'd say this one is probably a 1. But either way, it's a Barber, and so it's still worth about $3. I think spot price, like if you're talking melt value for a dime, it's right around $1.63 or something like that today. So this is worth almost double that. All right. What else I got? Thought this was cool. I found a first year of issue 1916 Mercury. Also very slicked out. This one's probably a 2, maybe a 3, I don't know. But it's very slick. And for being the first year of issue, 1916. Now, if this was a 1916 S, holy cow. And it could have been. It's just that when you look down here, right down there where the mint mark is supposed to be, everything is slick, so it's impossible to see, right? But 1916 in 2 condition would be worth about $5. All right, next up, what do we got? This here is a 1917. Okay, it's kind of cool. A little bit of junk up there on that side. Okay, so it's just a 1917 Merc. And this is probably, if I had to guess, this is probably in fine, like 15 condition, and it's probably worth about $7 by my estimation. By the way, if you agree or disagree with that grade, please leave me a comment below for those of you that know better than I do. Just trying to compare it to pictures. All right. Next up, this one's a nice lustrous piece. This one stood out because of the luster. It's not a great year or anything like that. It's a 1944. But it really had the cartwheeling effect, and it caught my eye. It's lustrous on both sides. I do not believe this is a mint state. I do think this is a circulated coin, so it must grade out to about around AU, I would imagine. But you know, when you're looking at a bunch of dirty coins and you see this one, it really stands out. So kind of cool. I'd say this one's probably worth about $6. So about 4 times melt. All right, this is kind of neat. Take a look at this one. Here's a 1945. And this is one of the coins I believe I was looking for, the Micro S. Take a look here. Now, what I'm going to do is zoom in here with the microscope. Go ahead and take a look at this. I do believe that this is the Micro S because it's kind of blocky at the beginning and at the end of the S. And if you look back to the reference picture where they show the difference between the 2 different versions of the S, the regular S is much more round. So I do believe I found the Micro S, which means that this particular coin is worth probably double what the regular 1945 S would be. And so this is probably a fine 12 or 15 or so. It's my estimation. And it's probably worth about $8. So kind of neat. That was after looking through 8 rolls and you finally find something that you think hits one of the dates you're looking for. It was kind of cool. All right, and the granddaddy of all the ones I found so far, and I do remember getting this at one point in my stacking, and I threw it in with my Mercs. But look at this. This is kind of neat. An old Barber. It's a 1907D. And, you know, everything kind of stands out in relief. It's a very dirty coin from what I can tell. When I initially looked at this, I thought this would grade out higher than it really is. But if you try to look and see where Liberty is in the bands there, you can't read it at all. You can see all the letters, but it's so dirty. And so I do feel like if I had to grade it based on the Liberty part, it's probably, you know, like a fine 12, but I think that the details are higher than that. But it's a very dirty coin. Either way, if it is in fine 12 condition, it's worth about $19. So I had no idea, probably back in the day when I got it, that would be, you know, that was before I was into numismatics and things like that. So this is really fun to come across. But far cry better than the melt value, right? So there you go. That's from 8 rolls of searching through. So about 400 coins I had to go through to pull these 8 ones of interest out. I mentioned I do have these other 3 rolls that I want to go through. But I'm going to get this processed up and try to figure out how I'm going to be able to go through these live on camera. I might not be able to do that. So if this is the end of the video, you'll know that my technical difficulties won out in the day. But I do want to figure out how to screen capture my my microscope, so that you can see that process, because that's a lot of fun to do that. But either way, thanks for sticking around. This is Big Stack Numismatics. More to come. Talk to you soon. you.